Hello, welcome pen friends. Today we're going to go over day 1 through 8 of the Colorverse Colorvent. I have these in samples from a generous pen friend CS. Thank you so much. So every day in the morning I come to my ink journal, which is one of these. It's a Graphilo, and this was from pen friend MS. I've got two of them, but they're the same and they're lined A5. And it's a really nice paper with an 8mm line grid, but the line is very inconspicuous, I guess you would say. So it's easy for me to just use it as a blank page. So the first thing we'll do is go through the ink journal, the 8 colors, and then we're going to look at the calendar, because I've been keeping up in the 68 GSM Tomoe River paper with a calendar, so I'll have all of the colors on one page. And then we'll look at the tiles, and then we'll go and I'll talk generally, because there's some general things that I really want to tell you about, but first I want to just focus on the colors. And before we get started, I'm not using anything really, fancy, other than this really fancy and nice notebook, the Graphilo notebook. That's probably the most fancy supply. Other than that, I'm just using a water brush, well, I'm not really sure what this is anymore. I've had it so long. I was going to say watercolor brush, but it could be an acrylic brush. I don't know. It's just something that I have, and I use that for the calendar. And then I'm using this little syringe thing that I got at Radio Shack for these, and we'll talk about that. And then the pen, so that I'm keeping it really consistent. Each day, each color is visited the same way, basically. I use the Serendipity Mini with a Knox broad nib, and it's a little dip hybrid pen with a feed and everything. And I have reviewed this, so I'll put that on a little bit of a on the end screen, I guess it's called. And then I cut my strips for chromatography into 4, so I'd have enough to get all the way through all the inks that I'm checking out. And then this is a really cool little thing. This little ink sample holder is from Inkapet. And if you haven't ever checked out Inkapet, you really should, because it's a young man that does 3D printing, and it's awesome. So he does a really good job. And I just put my ink sample in there and go for it. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say before we started. So here's the tile for the first one. This is Colorverse Supergiant. Let me make sure we're in the frame. I hope so. I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like we are. And wow, what a vibrant red, beautiful red ink to start with on the first day. The spring is driving me crazy. It's just gorgeous, and the color lifts really nice with a water brush. The splats are amazing. Let me tell you about the splats. I went and I watched a video by Wendy Sue, where she was talking about 3 Hongdian inks, and I saw how she makes her ink splats, and I didn't have the same gizmo, but I had this one. So this is what I've been using to force water onto the ink drops to kind of get a nice little splatter, and every one looks different. I used to do it with an ink syringe, and that's fine, but I was bored of that. I get the same type splats every time, and now it's nice to have a new idea. So you might want to check her channel out. She's got some neat ideas. Okay, so I love this. It's just wonderful. I put, A for, I guess I didn't grade each ink, so I haven't been real consistent yet, but it's saturated, it's got great flow, the color is just so pretty. I thought, wow, day 1, and it's a beautiful color. So, okay, that's the day 1. And then, let's see if I got these, I hope they're in order. I sure hope so. But let's see what happens. Okay, so the next one is called Edge of Night. Colorverse Edge of Night. Now this has some complexity. It's gorgeous. Oh, it's so pretty. And here's the little splat. The splats are always appear a little bit darker, which kind of the way it was with the other technique as well. Whoops, I don't like to cover that up. But anyway, yeah, this is super flowy, and again, I got a nice lift with the color with the water brush. Great chromatography. Really, really pretty. Okay, I'm going to try to like save my general comments for the end, because there's a lot of things I want to say just about the process of having a new ink sample, you know, to look at every morning. But I want to do that when we chat in the library if I can. So, okay, so next up is Colorverse Moonlit Veil. This is kind of a silvery gray, and it's gorgeous. It darkens up considerably when you have a lot heavy. So I did a nib swab, and I did the splatter or ink blob or whatever you want to call it. So it appears really light. I'm going to be curious about whether I like it to write letters with or not, and it may depend on my paper. I don't know. On this, it passes, but this is like the best paper I think on the face of the earth. You know, it's right up there with my 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, and in fact, for some inks, it does them a favor. So that's been another aspect so far of these 8 days, is that I realize I'm working on some really delicious paper. So that's been really nice. Okay, and then next up, okay, this is the one where I have a comparison tile, so I want to remember that. Okay, and it's right in front of me. I want to make sure I don't forget. Colorverse Sailing Stones. I'm not sure how they're saying that. I'm seeing this as a kind of a brown. It's really pretty. It really got grayish when you laid it down in a drop and splattered it. So that was really, I mean, you still got some brown, but the darker tones were really dark. Anyway, you can see how it looked in a nib compared to how it looks here. And then it's got this interesting chromatography where it goes from a dark, almost a gray, a bluish gray, right up into like a light yellow and pink. Really, really nice. Now, this is the ink it made me think of. And I don't have that happen very often, where I'm just going along and right out of the blue, I did not look through my inks to say, oh, it looks like Stone Road of Gion, but it does to me. From memory even, I said, I've got to find the Stone Road of, and I couldn't remember what the name was, but I found it in the color tiles. So that's the one that it reminded me of. And I think that's one of the only ones this time that I didn't really take time to do that kind of thing every day. But nice ink. And, you know, again, it's light. I'm not sure. It's not my top kind of color would be like day one, where it's in your face. It's brilliant, vibrant, in your face. That's me. But that's not everybody. So I'm really excited that they're doing, you know, different things and showing such a spectrum of colors. So, okay, next up is the Colorverse, let's see, Rosette Nebula. This, to me, is another complex one. And I guess it's a pink. I don't know. I saw it at first as a red, and I couldn't get that out of my mind. But as soon as I used the water brush and I did the splat and I did the chromatography, I started looking at it differently and realizing, well, it's probably veers over into pink more than red. But anyway, you could probably see it as red in a nib sometimes. So that's what I was seeing at first. And I put impressive chromatography. It picked up real nice with the water brush. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even use the water brush with this other one. Oh, I probably knew what would happen. But that breaks my consistency rule, so I'm a little bit not happy with that. I did it here just a little. Okay, note to self, let's be a little more consistent. It's not a contest or anything, but I do like to see each one, even if I can predict that it's not going to be too impressive like it was here. I'm going to try to make an effort to do that. Okay, the next one is one of those really vibrant ones. And so day 6, December 6th, Colorverse Kilo Nova. Just a beauty with a lot of sheen and just in-your-face bright color. Let's see. You can see by these splats, wow, I can almost see these creatures. I don't know. Sometimes it scares me a little when I start seeing stuff in ink blobs. I got enough issues without that. But anyway, it had a really impressive smear and chromatography. Now, I will say that this is the kind of ink, let me see if I can find the sample, where it, okay, you see how I just agitated a little and then it looks like it's a full vial. So this is the kind where you can't tell how much you have in your vial or your bottle after you've moved it around. And that is generally the sign of an ink that's too thick for me and that I'm not going to really like, other than just sort of a little bit of stuff like this. But that's very specific to me, and it's also kind of a new development that I realized, that they're harder for me to clean out usually. They're super, super saturated and not as viscous, or whatever the word is. It's supposed to be the correct word, I'm not sure. But it's not, it sticks to everything, so I don't know. But it's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And I ran out right here, and I didn't want to dip again. I wanted to kind of conserve the ink, so I was writing a little bit down here with a different pen just to do that. Okay, then here I don't know what made me splat on the wrong side, or on the opposite side, but I did. This is Colorverse Rover, and I'm seeing it as gray. I think it's a gray. And it's really pretty. And in fact, it's more readable than some of the other lighter ones that were in this series. Yeah. And I wrote down, I'm actually happy that not every color is a holiday color. Okay, so we got a pretty good, it almost looks like some water resistance there. You can see a little bit, and you can see it on the chromatography. It stayed like dark gray, and then it went to yellow and light blue. And it's just real pretty. It wasn't too impressive with the water brush, but that's probably because it's got water resistance and it just kind of stays there, and not much ink goes into the center with the water. But that's okay. Okay, then last but not least, the December 8th ink, which is day 8, is Colorverse Blue Moon. Whoops, I don't want to drop everything. And this is kind of I thought it was much lighter until I started to work with it. From the tile, I might have said just missed it or something, but here it is, just like all the others. I do them all the same. I dip that little pen in several times, and I roll it around in the sample and make sure that I get plenty of ink on the nib and feed. And so each one gets really the same treatment. And anyway, this is pretty. I'm calling it like an ice blue or something. And it did react nicely with the water brush. Kind of subtle, but it's pretty. Really nice. Even the splats are kind of fun. It's funny how they're all different. Some of them are a little bit, like that looks like almost like a donkey with, I don't know. I see stuff in these splats. Oh my God. Okay, so that is what I've done so far with these. And now let's look at the little calendar so we can see them side by side. There, okay. So this is not done yet, obviously, because we're only on December 8th as I'm filming this. And but I'm already enjoying seeing the variety, being able to compare the two blue ones. Kind of looking at these three, how different they look, like a light silvery gray, and then a sort of a flat, almost a brown, chalky, I don't know. I've seen, yeah, that's the one that I said was like sailing stones. Is that the one? Yeah. Huh. Anyway, a lot to learn, a lot to look at here, really, for me. So we got two reds, or a pink and a red to compare, and that's where that looks a little more pink. And so it's just a beginning stages here. But let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My goodness, I'll tell you. So every day when I come up here, I've been using the pen to fill in one of the letters. I did have a little mishap with this one, which was very much not dry when I thought it would be, I guess. Okay, so next let's look at all of the tiles together, because I'm going to try to pick my favorite so far. Okay, so these are the 8 that we've done so far. And this is hard because I really was impressed with the red one, the super giant. It's so happy and cheerful, but I'm kind of covered on red. And so that influences me, even though picking a favorite doesn't mean I'm going to want to buy a bottle or anything like that, but it still influences me like, okay, well, it's red. but I have some other reds. Like I really like Redshift by Colorverse. And so I have and that might lean just slightly more toward a maroonish or a deeper red. I'm not sure. But yeah, so definitely this is one. And then this one, of course, it just grabbed me because I remember liking this one so much. And so I was surprised how much it reminded me of this one. This one does not have the Kyoto tag. Stone Road of Gion does not have the water resistance, but it's got that beauty, that interesting color. So that was one. And then this one really, you know, grabs me. And I can't think of, I can't really think of a bottle of anything that I have that's just like this. But it's so nice and complex and pretty. Oh dear. So it's going to be a matter of how I decide. I haven't decided. I'm just going to probably, you know, make a decision. And again, I like the Rosette Nebula, but I have like different pinks that are in that category that I'm already really kind of crazy about. So I wouldn't be pursuing a pink. But I'll tell you, no matter how you look at it, I think it's going to be this one so far. It's just really a happy color, the happiest color so far in my book. And so I guess for right now, today, I'm going to pick Supergiant as my favorite so far. What about you? Do you have a favorite thus far? I also really like this one, which I was surprised because it looks so light, but it has that, it makes me think of snow, or it's kind of a Christmassy color. In fact, you know, if you look at the, like the letters on here, just a sparkly, kind of a light, and yet really pretty blue. But yeah, I'm sticking to Supergiant as my favorite. So let's move over to the library and I'll see if I can explain a couple things that might help you understand where I'm at with all of this. Okay? See you over there. There, I made my way over to the library. So here's the thing. I had planned to do the ink vent, the Diamine ink vent, and the Colorverse Colorvent, one each of the ink every day, and then do my reports, you know, as I went along. But I didn't get very far in the first couple of days before I realized I didn't want to try to do it that way. I wanted to pick, am I going to do the Diamine ink vent in December, or am I going to do the Colorverse Colorvent? And I did pick the Colorverse Colorvent because, you know, it's new. It's new to me, and I've done the Diamine ink vent for I think 3 years prior to this. So this is the 4th one, and I thought, you know, I debated quite a bit because that's how I am, and then because I've had, you know, kind of been overshadowed with indecision lately. But I thought I want to go to my desk. I want to, you know, to do the ink, but I don't want to spend longer on that than I do on writing Christmas cards and pen pal letters and journaling, because those activities are also really important to me. So it's not that it takes that long, but I think my little routine is so comfortable with 1 ink a day, and I don't know that I would enjoy it if I did the 2. So in fact, I was thinking, let's just put Chris in the slow lane, and there'll be January that I can do the Diamine ink vent. But I did do all the tiles. There was 25 of the ink vent and 24 of the color vent, and I got those sent to Matt at Ink Swatch. And so I had a chance to see the colors, even though they kind of went by pretty quickly. And I also, so not as a spoiler, because I'm not going to go into specific numbers even, but just generally speaking, the color vent had fewer what I'd call shimmer inks. Now, Colorverse calls them glistening, I think. And then Diamine has several words. They call them either shimmer, and then chameleon and starbright. So, you know, whatever. So what I'm talking about is not specific, but just with glitter in it or with glitter not in it. There were many, many fewer in the Colorverse. So I thought, oh, well, that's new to me and that's different. And I just was, really wanting to pick one or the other. So that's what I did. I didn't flip a coin. I really just unfairly decided that I'd do the Colorvent in December. So, and then I wanted to be honest. A couple weeks ago, I guess, I don't know, time has gotten a little warped up for me with all these projects that I've been trying to bring along. I got hit kind of hard with a lot of anxiety, and I'd call it mental indecision about every little thing, but I don't know. It got darker, and I was trying to think of factors. Of course, this is an internal factor, and I'm looking at external factors. So I'm realizing that maybe I'm trying to pin it on this, that, and the other thing, and there really isn't. And I just have to, breathe and go on and make good decisions, for myself. But several projects that I was trying to bring along, they regressed, and there were things missing and things that still need to be done, and follow up, and the frustration level. I never experienced anything like this. I don't think it's just me. I think it's a bad time of year to try to get things to happen with businesses and with bureaucracies or whatever. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need to go into detail, but anyway, yeah, the days have been really dark, but Manuel made the comment that I get like this every holiday season, and I will admit that is true. That there's this is different though. This feels different. I mean, it's hard to describe. And so just to be making this video today, it's like a mountain I didn't think I was going to climb, but I want to be here. And I value our talks and our communication, and the ink is a positive thing. Like it's, and if maybe in our October, November, I watched too many videos on politics or whatever I did, I have actively contributed to where I am now. Well, this ink project and writing letters and journaling, they're positive things for me. I won't take them to the point where I'm burned out. I've learned those kinds of lessons about that. So I'm pleased with myself, at least in that, and that I will just approach this the best I can and enjoy it, because there's other aspects, other projects that just, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't understand why it's just so hard to get anything done right now. I will say that I have realized that maybe follow-up, it's hard to know when you're being a pest and you're following up too soon, or when you're appropriately giving time and then following up saying, hey, did you get that fax? Did you receive my email with the second time I've sent you this? And it's tough. It's kind of tough when you're at the mercy of other folks that are, trying to do a job and it's not working out. Anyway, I think that's too much and not enough all at once. But these inks are really fun, and I truly, truly enjoy it every morning. And because I'm not pushing myself too hard, and I'm just looking at them and writing with them and using the serendipity, which it can be easily cleaned, then I feel like that's the road to really enjoying it and being able to also enjoy it in January. Although I will say I'm going through a lot of my other pens that were still inked, and I cleaned like 6 yesterday because I'm running them dry really quickly, almost like the light bulbs, they all blow at the same time. So I am going to ink 8 new inks for January, and no ifs or buts about it, because one, I'm going to have one new pen that I know of for Christmas, and so I'm going to want that one inked, and I'm going to want that for my letter writing. So even though I'll do the Diamine ink vent in January, I'm definitely going to do kind of what I call my normal routine for January too, and have 8 pens and inks, and that's just more than I needed to say, I guess. The first half of this video has more value, but I hope that that no one else is experiencing what I am, because I don't think I ever quite experienced it this way before, and so I got a little bit freaked out with myself and didn't like it, and that's not gonna help anything. So I'm going to keep going, just keep going. And part of my keeping going is doing videos periodically. I like to do them weekly, but as makes sense and as unfolds with this project, I will be back. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you down in the comments about the ink, and I appreciate you very much. Bye for now.